everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Today I thought I would share with you a couple of my favorite restorative yoga postures. So in restorative yoga, the goal here is to activate our parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for rest and digest. And in restorative yoga, we like to think of it as more of a big giant exhale. Like rather than holding poses, we instead sink into postures and prepare the body and mind for rest. So for this practice, you will need a couple of props. Aside from your yoga mat, you'll need a couple of pillows. I'd suggest maybe 3 to 4, like the ones that you use from your bed. A blanket is optional as well. If you happen to have yoga blocks or thicker, heavy books, those can also come in handy as well. So to get started, we are going to set up our props, and I would suggest taking a couple pillows. Here I have a thicker bolster. If you don't have a bolster, that's okay. Again, you can use maybe 2 or 3 pillows, just depending on how high you would like to be elevated in these postures. And what you'll do is you'll take your stack of pillows and place it parallel to the long end of your mat. Now, I have a couple yoga blocks, so I'm going to use these to add a little bit of height to my mountain of pillows. If you don't have one, you can always grab a 3rd or 4th pillow and make a nice, really high mountain of pillows like so. But because I have my blocks, I'm going to use them. I'm going to take my block. You can also do this with a thick, heavy book as well. Create some height by placing it on a medium or higher setting. This really just depends on how high you want to be. And I'm going to take my blanket. Again, this is optional, but I always like to recommend it just to provide a little bit of extra support for underneath the knees. So I have my blanket folded up a few times. I place it right at the end of my mountain of pillows, like so. And our first pose for today is going to be a restorative child's pose. This is going to feel really nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to place both of our knees on either side of our mountain of pillows. This blanket here will add a little bit of padding and support for the knees, so if you need to readjust and create more support there, you can feel free. You'll sit your hips onto your heels, and then we'll start to recline forward using this mountain of pillows as our support. Now, if it doesn't feel so good to have the tops of your feet resting down on the mat, another really wonderful option is to roll up your blanket like a little sushi roll, like so. And you can use that as extra support for the tops of your feet, or you can simply keep your toes curled. But bearing in mind that, you might start to feel little pricks and tingles in the toes if you decide to go that route. And just know that you can always readjust as we settle. But what we'll do in this child's pose is we'll rest the front body onto our mountain of pillows. And for this variation, I would like to recommend just moving your head over to one side. Traditionally in a child's pose, you would want the forehead to rest down on the floor or on whatever support is below you. But because we have these pillows here, we want to create space for us to breathe. So I'll suggest turning over to one side. You can place your arms softly alongside your little mountain of pillows. If you have a little space underneath your stack, you can also grab a hold of your arms underneath it. And you'll just softly settle into this pose now by returning to your breath, bringing the awareness to the rise and fall of your back body as you inhale and exhale. Just using your exhales to softly melt away any stress or tension in your body, in your mind. You can feel free to stay here for an extended period of time. I often like to hold this in this pose for around 5 minutes. And midway through, We'll turn the head so as to stretch out the neck evenly on both sides. But for today, since I'm just demonstrating a couple postures, if your head is to one side, I'll encourage you to turn the head now. Notice any sensations that you feel in the body. Just knowing that if any thoughts arise, maybe distractions, wandering mind, you can always return your attention back to feeling the sensations in your body. Returning back to your breath. Slowly start to press down through your forearms and palms to lift yourself up. And just to rinse out that pose, you can feel free to take a couple movements that feel natural in your body. Sometimes I like to just take a quick little downward facing dog just to rinse out that posture. Sometimes a little couple breaths in cat-cow is nice, just to bring some movement back into the body, especially if you started to get those pins and needles in the feet. And whenever you're ready, we'll shift now over to the next posture. For our practice, we're generally now going to keep the pillows as they are. The only change is that we're going to remove the blanket, because we're going to flip over now to the front side of our body. The only changes I would suggest making is if you would like to add more height to your block of pillows. And we'll take a couple more pillows, books, or blocks if you have them. And we're going to move into this pose called Baddha Konasana, our butterfly pose. So for this pose, we're going to recline down to rest on that mountain with the back body. And then we're going to be supported with some pillows underneath the knees. So if you normally practice this posture without any support underneath the knees, I'd still encourage you to do so today, because we want to find this restorative variation and really sink and go deep into this posture. So I've got my two pillows here, one under each of my knees. You'll bring the soles of your feet together, and you'll bring your lower back right up into the edge of the short end of your mountain of pillows. And then we'll start to recline back down. And if you find that as you rest here, you feel like you could use some extra support, maybe another pillow, or if you want to place a blanket for extra support underneath your head, you can feel free to do so. You'll have your arms just resting at your sides, and I always like to invite in this pose to have the palms facing up so that we experience an external rotation in the shoulders to create more attention and a feeling of spaciousness and openness in the front part of the body. Now, if you're feeling a little bit chilly in this posture, blanket is also really great for this, and you can use that just to blanket over top of you for a little bit of warmth. You want to end up feeling nice and cozy in these postures today. So just get into that position, whatever feels good for you. If you feel more supported by having your hands resting on the front of your body, or you can rest your hands alongside the front of your thighs or on top of the hips, you can feel free to do that also. Drawing attention now into the breath. Noticing how the rib cage, the belly, the chest expands on every inhale. And how everything lowers and draws back into the center of your body as you exhale. Again, noticing if the mind begins to wander. You simply observe your thoughts without judgment. Just return to your breath, noticing sensations in the body, noticing sounds that you hear, both inside and outside of your space. Now, if this pose feels comfortable for you, you can feel free to stay here for a little bit longer. Or if you like, you can move into final resting position. And the only difference here is that we'll now remove the support from underneath the pillows. I'm gonna rise up for a moment here. And I'm just gonna extend my legs long. So we're coming into a final Shavasana or corpse pose, but with this mountain of pillows, all this support underneath. Now, if you're finding that you don't like to be elevated in Shavasana or resting pose, you can always feel free to lift yourself up and remove out any layers. Maybe you want to recline a little bit further down, so you can feel free to take that variation as well. Just allowing the body now to fully surrender to this place of rest. Using your breath to melt away any tension. Allowing all the muscles in your feet, from the tips of your toes to your heel, to relax. Allowing your ankles to relax. Allowing the shins and the calves to relax. The knees, your thighs, your hips to relax. Let your belly release. Let your chest, the shoulders, relax. Let your arms go. Let your hands, the wrists, to the fingertips, relax. Let your shoulders, let your neck relax. Let your head be heavy. Unfurrow your brow. Pull your tongue away from the teeth. Release the jaw. Relax. Stay here for as long as time allows you. Know that you are held here. You are supported. You are held by the earth below you. Thank you for allowing me to guide you through.